Today we're going to cover factoring trinomials with GCF. So basically we are covering the techniques that we used in the previous parts with factoring trinomials and factoring with GCF. So when you see a trinomial just like this, 12x squared minus 44x plus 40, to make your work easier, it's always best to check if you have a common factor with all terms. So let's take a look. First, we have 12x squared, and then in the second term, negative 44x, and then the last term, 40. If we take a closer look, they're all even numbers, so that means that they are divisible by 2. But could we go with a higher number? In this case, we can, because we can factor out or divide all terms by 4. So I'm going to divide each term by 4 in order to factor it out. So my GCF is 4. It's going to be outside the parenthesis. 12x squared divided by 4 will be 3x squared. Negative 44x divided by 4 will be negative 11x. And then 40 divided by 4 will be positive 10. And then close parenthesis. After that, now inside the parenthesis, I have a trinomial. So we're going to factor just like how we did before. So I'm just going to focus on inside the parenthesis and leave the 4 alone. But again, the 4 does not disappear. It's still out there in the parenthesis. So my A is 3, my B is negative 11, and then my C is 10. So let's set up our X table. So remember, on the top it's A times C, at the bottom it's B. So A times C, 3 times 10, that's 30, and my B is negative 11. So the question is, what two numbers that can multiply into positive 30 and sum up, the sum and difference is negative 11. So the two numbers that we can find is negative 6 and negative 5. When you multiply these two, it comes out positive 30. When you combine negative 6 and negative 5, it will come out as negative 11. So let me add in my variable x on both of them. So let's set up our work. Again, we're just going to focus on inside the parenthesis. So first I'm going to write 3x squared, then minus 6x, then minus 5x, and my last term plus 10. Alright, so let's start factoring by grouping. So here's my left side. Now what's in common between these two terms on the left is 3x. These two terms have x, and 3 can go into 3 and 6. So I'm going to have 3x on the outside of the parenthesis. 3x squared divided by 3x simply be x. And then negative 6x divided by 3x will be negative 2, close parenthesis. Alright, now let's do the right side. So what's in common between negative 5x and 10 is the 5. In addition, the first term on the right side is negative, so I'm going to divide by negative 5. So I'm going to have negative 5 here. Negative 5x divided by negative 5 is positive x. Positive 10 divided by negative 5 is negative 2. Close parenthesis. Now I'm going to group my outside factors since the inside of the parentheses are exactly the same. So it's going to be 3x minus 5, and then, write that parenthesis, and then x minus 2. But don't forget, you still have that GCF that was outside of parentheses, so let's put that 4 back over here. So here's our full answer 4 times 3x minus 5 times x minus 2. So this is what it would typically look like when you have a GCF factoring with a trinomial. In this example, we have 6x to the third minus 9x to the second power minus 60x. So when you're factoring, again, it's best to check if you have a common factor. So let's take a look in each of the three terms. They all have x's, so we're going to factor out the x. In addition, we have a common number between 6, 9, and 60. Now some might assume that 6 can go all three terms. The issue is 6 won't be able to go into 9. So let's think of another number, maybe something lower. 3 perhaps. 3 can go into 6 2 times. 3 can go into 9 3 times. And 3 can go into 60 20 times. So my greatest common factor is 3 for the numbers. So my GCF for this example is 3x. So I'm going to have 3x outside. Inside, 6x to the third divided by 3x will be 2x to the second power. Negative 9x to the second power divided by 3x will be negative 3x. And then negative 60x divided by 3x will be negative 20. Alright, now, just like before, we're going to factor just like how we did before with the trinomial. Here's my A, here's my B, and here's my C. So A is 2, B is negative 3, and C is negative 20. Now we're going to set up our table, our X table. So again, the top is A times C, and the bottom is B. So at the top, we're going to do 2 times negative 20, which is negative 40. And then the bottom, B, is negative 3. Since we are finding two factors that multiply to negative 40, meaning one is negative, one is positive, the sum and difference between those two factors is negative 3. So the possible factor is negative 8 and positive 5. So once you find the correct factors, let me add in my x, and then we're going to set up our work. So we're going to have 2x squared minus 8x plus 5x minus 20. Alright, so now we're just going to do the process for factoring by grouping. So the left side, the common factor on the left side is 2 and the x, because they both have x and they have even numbers, the 2 and the 8, divisible by 2. So when you divide by 2x on these two terms, 2x squared divided by 2x is just x. Negative 8x divided by 2x would be negative 4, close parenthesis. Now, the right side, what's in common with the right side is they both divisible by 5. So I'm going to put plus 5. 5x divided by 5 is simply x. Negative 20 divided by 5 is negative 4, and then a close parenthesis. Now, since inside the parenthesis the expression is exactly the same, then I'm going to group the outside factors. So it's going to be 2x plus 5 in parenthesis, and then bring down x minus 4 once. But don't forget, we had that GCF from the very beginning the 3x, so we're going to bring it back into the final answer. It does not disappear, so don't forget that. And then let's box our final answer. So in this example, we have 10m to the third power x squared plus 64m to the third power x plus 24m to the third. Now what's different with this example is that we have two different variables, the m and the x, but we're going to apply the same process as we did factoring with GCF and then factoring with the trinomial. So the first step is check if we have a GCF. So we have 10m to the third x squared, and then our middle term, the second one, is 64m to the third x, and then our last term, 24m to the third. So, looking at it, we see that 10, 64, and 24, they're all even numbers, meaning that they are divisible by 2, and nothing higher, so we're going to divide each term by 2. In addition, they all have m to the third, so we're going to divide with the m to the third. So that means that the 2m to the third would be outside of parentheses. 10m to the third x squared divided by 2m to the third is going to be 5x squared plus positive 64m to the third x divided by 2m to the third would simply be 32x last 24m to the third divided by 2m to the third will be positive 12. Close parenthesis. Alright, now we're going to factor inside the parenthesis the trinomial. So here's our A, B, and C. So my A value is 5, my B value is 32, and then my C value is 12. Alright, let me set up the X table. Just like before, the top is A times C. So 5 times 12, that's 60. And then B at the bottom, which is 32. So when you're trying to find two numbers that multiply into 60, and the sum and difference between those two factors is 32, the only pair of factors you could use is 30 and 2. So 30 times 2 is 60, and when you combine positive 30 with positive 2, you're going to get 32. So let me add in my x, and then let's set up our work. So 5x squared plus 30x, and then plus 2x plus 12. Alright, so let's take a look at the left side. Both of these terms have x, so we're going to divide both of them by x. In addition, they both can be divided by 5, because 5 can go in 5 one time, and 5 can go in 30 6 times. So I'm going to put my GCF outside of parentheses, 5x. So 5x squared divided by 5x is just x. Positive 30x divided by 5x will be positive 6, close parentheses. Now, let's focus on the right side. Both of these terms can only be divided by 2 because we only have 2x and 12. So I'm going to put plus 2 here. 2x divided by 2 is x. 12 divided by 2 is positive 6, close parenthesis. So taking a look at what we have inside the parentheses, x plus 6 and x plus 6. So they are exactly the same, meaning I'm going to group my outside factor, the 5x and the plus 2 together in one set of parentheses. Bring down x plus 6 once, and then don't forget we need to bring back our GCF from the very beginning, 2m to the third. And this will be our final answer. Now, again, the one thing you gotta watch out for is if you factor out the GCF at the very beginning, it does not disappear. Make sure you bring it back into the final answer. All this work that we did here was to factor the trinomial that's inside the parenthesis. Once you finish, we got 5x plus 2 times x plus 6, but we still have the 2m to the third power. So again, make sure you bring your GCF back into the final answer if you were able to find the GCF at the very beginning.